friends, welcome to this course. This is a beginner course for watercolor painting, and you will find all the information you need like color wheel, undertones, how to create a natural shade of white, how to create a natural shade of black, and how to create grays as well. So I'll be covering all this through the course. Of course, please let me know if you have any questions at any time. The final goal for you is to finish a painting like this one. So this will be your challenge at the end of the course. First, you'll be practicing painting pairs, different pairs, using different techniques in watercolor. So wet on dry, wet on wet, but then different ways to preserve light in watercolors. In this class, we will be blending specific colors together. So for example, I'm going to give you an example. If the pear is green, mostly, of course, we'll also see some yellows in there and so on, but you determine first what is that local color of your object. To create a natural shadow for your object, you want to use a complementary color. So what's the complementary color to green? It's red. So here is red. Now, I'm going to quickly grab a little bit of green again, place it here, and then I'm going to grab, for this demonstration, red. So natural shade, like shadow, would be to blend these two together, plus additional colors, because obviously you're gonna use like yellow undertones to create that pear, right? Now, I often add also blue to it. So there's my blue to make the shadow darker. Why am I even going for the blue? Because to create a shade of green, what do we need? A yellow. So let me grab some yellow. This is to create a shade of green. Yellow plus blue. And there's my blue. And now let's blend these two together. And there's my shade of green. So this is the two colors combined together. So that's why, like, sometimes I'll just add blue to my blend for the shadow for the green pear as well. So I will provide more information under the post, the main class or course. When painting with watercolors, you will come eventually across painting something white. Maybe it will be a wall of the house. Maybe that will be a flower, like a flower petal, and it's white basically. Or you just need to preserve the white, but white, the paper white, is not gonna look as natural, so you need to use some colors. So I'm going to show you like how you can recreate a shade of white. And this is very simple because all we need is red, blue, and yellow, so primary colors. So first, I'm going to place here, this is my red, this is going to be my red color, Queen Red. Next, I'm going to grab some of this yellow. And next, this is going to be my blue. Now, this is just those are just the primary colors, so yellow, blue, red. When you mix the three colors together, you actually create a shade of gray. And that's the same situation, like if you paint something gray or you paint something white, you want to use the same three colors. So basically, when we mix the three colors, I'm going to show this to you. I'm going to grab this yellow over here. There's my red, and then there's my blue. Okay, so the three colors together. So what's the first one? Red. So let's do like a red gray. So if I want a red gray, I need more red in that blend, right? So there's my red gray. But the red gray can have different values. So now I'm going to use a little more water with the paints. I diluted it more with water, and it looks like this. And then I'm going to grab a little more water. And it's getting lighter. So these are color values, right? And I'm going to use even more water. It becomes lighter and lighter and lighter. Now let's do a yellow gray. So again, I have yellow, red, and blue. But this time, I need a little more of that yellow in that blend, right? It still needs all the three colors. So there's my yellow gray. And the same thing with the color values. I'm grabbing a little more water and I'm creating a lighter value of that gray. So this is my yellow gray. Even more water. And even more water. Till I get to this lightest value right here. So these are my color values of the yellow gray. These are color values of the red gray. Now let's create a shade of blue gray. So more of the blue with all these colors, the three colors. Okay, you never want to overly mix the colors though, because you need to see the separation of colors. And when you overly mix the colors on the palette, it's very easy to get to that muddiness of colors. So this is my blue gray. Now I'm gonna grab more water with it to create a lighter value of the same blend. Even more water. And then even more water. So there's my blue gray. Now, why is this important? Because we're painting with watercolors. This is so different. And you also have to think about the colors in nature. There's no true white in nature. No true white in nature. That's why we need to recreate that white. And when I paint a rose, white rose, some petals, or something white, like a white dog, this is what I'm gonna use. These are the color values. So this tells me, okay, this is what my blue gray could look like. This is what my yellow gray could look like, and then red gray. Now it's just a matter of how much red or yellow or blue you add to that blend, the overall blend. Another important thing to understand is also that to paint something natural and to give life to your painting, you also want to use these three colors to create a shade of gray. So when you paint something gray, you don't want to just grab Payne's gray or Dave's gray or some other shade of gray. There's no need for that. You can create your own shade of gray, and you can add other colors too to create that shade of gray. But this is like the basic, very basic to how I teach. And whenever we paint something grayish, like a gray horse, this is what I'm gonna do. Use the colors. I'm gonna maybe add a little more blue to it, maybe more red. But this is gonna be the basic palette. And I might use different shade of blue to begin with, maybe different shade of yellow or red. This is not a primary red according to Holbein. This is actually quinacridone red, not Perol red. And Perol red is the primary color. It's just that I like this color. I know this color very well. And it's a transparent red and I love it. I just love the shade of it. It is cooler, but it doesn't bother me because I just mix the color. It mixes very well. So that's another thing. You want to determine if a color is transparent or more opaque. The more opaque colors might get more muddy. So you have to be also careful what colors you blend together. Now let's talk about a shade of black, right? How do you paint something black in watercolors? So this main course is about like painting pears, but what happens if you want to paint a black cat or a black dog? You don't want to use black straight out of a tube. You want to actually create your own shade of black. This is something I've been teaching for years, since I started in 2017. I never used black straight out of a tube. I am just going to apply a little more very gently, and you'll see like when you start wetting the pear, what you will notice is like the water does not get into those spots anymore, because you want to have a comfortable brush, a little softer though, because it'll be much easier for you to wet it and to apply colors, because when you have a stiffer brush, it's easier to lift the colors even in that process of still applying the colors. Now this is what my palette looks like. So I have some yellow here, green, and then there's my red, and just in case there's some blue, right? So now I'm gonna actually go back one more time through the pear. So I grab more water on my brush, dip my brush in water like this, just a little bit, not too much. And then I'm going to grab some of the yellow. Okay, this feels a little too thick, so I'm gonna grab a little bit more of the water. Now, before you go to your painting, just touch a little bit of that, so to grab a little bit of that red. And don't mix the colors, just come back here to your painting and then watch how the paint spreads. And you still want to think about the highlight, right? So we don't need to add color in that highlight. So let's just stay away from it. And then just go along the edge using the tip of your brush. And then the other side right here. And you will notice, because we're using this water, something that feels like water or maybe even milk, you see that the paint just spreads, right? Now, so let's grab first a little bit of yellow. So again, this is water to milk, and then let's grab some of the green with that same brush. Now, where do you see green? It's actually on the bottom here and a little bit on the left, right? So let's start over here. So add a little bit of that yellow plus green right here. So now we're changing the shade of our yellow, and watch how that paint spreads. Isn't that beautiful? This is the one thing that that's why I fell in love with watercolors. I just love how the colors spread. So where else do we see green?